Good Monday morning, everybody. You know, in many church traditions, people greet each other with the very familiar phrase, God is good all the time, God is good, right? It's a simple statement, but it's also a very important and necessary theological concept. It's very deep, because if you think about it, if you were omnipotent and you're a human being and you're flawed, you would have the power to do anything you wanted for anybody. You could do a lot of good, but it would still instill fear in people around you because you have all that power, but you are flawed. You are not always good. You do not always do the right thing. You do not always do what's in the best interest of everybody. You're not omniscient. You can't figure out what's best for all these people. So it would instill fear to have that much power in one person. Imagine the horror of having an omnipotent God who can do everything, but who cannot be trusted to be good. And not just be good sometimes, but to be good all the time. You can be sure he will always use that power for the good. In our story today, Jesus is teaching that his sovereignty extends much further than they expected. They knew he had a certain level of sovereignty and power. He's telling them it's even greater than what you thought. But believing that is not enough unless they are willing to embrace his sovereign goodness and his sovereign will as well. So this is a story of Lazarus, and I'm only going to read a couple of verses from John 11, 25 and 26, very familiar verse. Jesus said to her, I'm the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me will live even though he dies, and whosoever lives and believes in me will never die. And then he says, do you believe this? Do you believe this? You know, we all know the story of the raising of Lazarus, so I'm not going to go through the story again with you. I just want to look at that one question and explore what it meant for them and what it means for us. Mary and Martha believed, but they had two problems. The first problem was that they only believed part of the truth. In other words, they believed Jesus had a certain amount of power, but they didn't believe he had infinite power. They believed he could heal their brother, but they did not believe yet that he was God and could actually raise their brother from the dead. The second thing is that they believed in his power, but they questioned his goodness. You see, he had not come on time. He had stayed away. And so they're thinking to themselves, you can heal, but you didn't heal Lazarus. You love him, but you didn't heal him. Why didn't you come back? They're questioning whether he is good, whether his will is right, whether he's doing the right thing. He has this power, but how is he using it? And the key comes later in the story when Jesus says, take away the stone. Open it up. Let's look inside. Let's see what we can do. And Martha is the first to object. She says, Lord, it's been 4 days. It'll stink. He's starting to rot. And Jesus says to her, did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? And to her credit, she obeyed despite her doubts and despite her fears, and she saw the glory of God as Jesus raised her brother's corpse back to life. I think as we read this story, what we need to get here is that Jesus is asking us to open the tombs in our lives as well. Open the tombs that hold the rotting corpses of sin that we don't want to face anymore. You know, maybe we could have healed it. Maybe you could have healed it when it was fresh, you know, when I was young, but now it's too late. It's too much water has passed under the bridge. I don't believe you can fix it. And Jesus says, open the tomb. Let's see what I can do. Maybe it's a tomb filled with resentment and unforgiveness in a relationship that needs to be mended. This is just too broken. You don't want me to go there again. You don't understand. The situation is too far gone. It's hopeless. Can't be fixed. Jesus says, open the tomb. Let's see what I can do. Or maybe it's an area of disobedience and sin, and you're saying, you know what, if you had helped me nip it in the bud when it was young, when it was just getting started, when now it's a habit, now it's ingrained in me, now I can't get rid of it, I don't know what to do. Maybe it would have worked earlier, but now it's too late. And Jesus says, open the tomb. Give me a chance. See what I can do. Or maybe it's an area of unwillingness to do something you know God is calling you to do. Some discipline or something that you should have been doing all your life, but you never started, and now you feel like, it's too late. I should have started years ago. It would just be one big mess if I tried to overturn my life and start doing these things now. And Jesus says, my child, open the tomb. See what I can do. Open the tomb, and you will see the glory of God. A few months later, another stone that should have been concealing a rotted corpse was rolled away. Jesus had carried the putrid stench of all the sin of the world into that tomb with him. By rights, when that stone was taken away, that stench should have filled the whole world. But instead, when the stone was rolled away, we saw the glory of God from the one who said, I am the resurrection and the life. And he that believes in me will live though he were dead. And whoever lives and believes in me will never die. And the question we need to consider today is what he left us with. Do you believe this? Because if you do, and if you're willing to roll the stone away, you too will see the glory of God. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.